Hey everyone, welcome back to Magic the Gathering for Advanced Players, here on the second installment of Magic the Gathering Conspiracies for Advanced Theorists. This is part 2, The Plot Thickens. What was the original plot? Pioneers announced, here's the format, here's the band list, there's a leak. Go watch the first video I did in the series, part 1. If you haven't watched it, it's about 10 minutes. Watch it at 1.5x, get caught up to speed, pause this, come back to it. Long story short, some speculation revealed, hey, people were buying these cards before the announcement, and I made a video explaining what happened. Hey, here's what's publicly known, here's what I found out first, second, third, and, I didn't name names, I didn't have names. I said, hey, here's what's happening. I thought I was done. Made that video, got a lot of views thanks to YouTube's conspiracy theory algorithm. But thanks to folks like Joe Ingram sharing it, it got a lot of views and people seem to like it because I just broke things down, pretty neutral. Hey, I actually gave the people who ultimately were acting the information credit for the fact that they are likely not the initial leakers, and their liability is probably pretty limited. They're not parties to any contract like an NDA necessarily. They're not necessarily, it's not like that information is forever, protected. They're not securities. It's not securities law. It doesn't quite work that way. That's all in that video. You just watched that either yesterday or when you just checked in on it. So I thought I was done. I thought, Joe Ingram, nice guy, messaged me, thought, maybe we're going to put together a video where we talk through, explain this to a non-Magic audience, maybe explain the Mike Postle story to a non-poker audience so we can kind of cross-pollinate these fun stories, whatever. That was something we were maybe working on, or other than that, I thought I was done. That's the story. Then some new information came in. I'm gonna walk you through that in this video, and you be the judge, right? I mean, again, my whole thing, this whole time I've been doing the series, I said I'm doing it in the style of, Doug Polk, Joe Ingram, where they say, hey, here's the evidence I have, you be the judge. I don't know. I don't have secret access to what really happened. I've got some people messaging me, and I'll show you that in a moment. But you're going to have to judge who's credible, what really happened. You're going to know what I know, and we're going to walk through it. So this is James Chilcott. I had never heard of this guy. I don't know who he is. Apparently he follows me, but whatever. MTG Finance, MTG Dad, basically the worst hashtags in the world in my opinion, but that's why I don't follow this guy. Fine. Different strokes for different folks. People are into that. That's what they're into. Great. At MTG Fast Finance, seems like a pretty standard profile for someone trying to, sell other folks data about MTG Finance, speculate, whatever. Again, I don't know this guy, but this is the profile. He's tweeting stuff like, will the basket of top 100 most played cards in Modern be worth more or less at this time next year? Yes or no? Will they be worth more or less? Yes or no? So I guess he's asking you to respond to the survey saying whether they'll be worth yes or no, or whether they'll say no, meaning they'll stay the same. So it's actually, will they vary by more than 0, I guess. So yeah, some cool polls like that on his page. The more we learn about him, like I said, you're going to have to form your own opinion. I've certainly formed mine, but it may not be the same opinion that you form. This guy reaches out to me yesterday, tells me basically I'm the guy, he's the guy rather, that I was quoting in the last video. I put up a quote, had about 3 or 4 sentences. The guy's, that I didn't know who it came from. All I heard that someone received this in an MTG Finance forum of some kind, and so I didn't put the whole text up there. I put a couple snippets of it, just quoting it, not even copying, not screenshots, quoting it. 80% plus confident, new format, fetches are banned, starts an RTR. Like, wow, okay, this guy's got the data. He's over 80% confident according to his own released thing in that thing. Okay, so this guy reaches out to me, and let me just pull up like this conversation, right? So this is yesterday, right? Well, right now it's, Friday. Yesterday at 9 a.m. Saw you quoted me in your video. Happy to answer any questions you might have openly about Pioneer leaks. We report any and all primary leaks to WotC, so nothing to hide over here. I said, yeah, I mean, if any of the info in the video felt inaccurate or incomplete, happy to learn how. Thanks for reaching out. You know, if this guy's got more, I mean, if he's going to say, hey, you got it right, then I'm like, you know, that's it. If he's going to say, hey, you didn't get it right, I want to know why. Okay, he said, running to the dentist, I'll let you know. Okay, the short version is there's leaked info circulating for every major decision WotC makes, as is normal for an operation of their size, and the specifics and sources seem to vary every time. In this particular case, leak or leaks were way upstream, and I would expect, but can't prove, came from CFB staff involved in the necessary operational planning. As per Spike data, as you noted, some folks were out there speccing confidently at least 2 weeks prior. Rumors didn't hit our ears until last weekend, and the fragments were a mixed bag of true, set list, no fetches, and untrue, standard bands continued. Feel free to hit me up with any specific queries in advance of my follow-up. Side note, the quote you show in your video is from within our Discord server, which all members sign off on not to duplicate elsewhere due to it being paid content. As such, your use of it is authorized just as if you were posting any other content from behind a paywall. I'd be happy to replace it with a full interview. Unauthorized and authorized are both. So you know, it's unauthorized because it's behind a paywall. I'm back at my desk available, and I said, well, I'm buried. I'm not going to be responding real time. I'm at work. It's 1 p.m., but I'll get back to you later. So a lot interesting going on there. So, you know, he said this is just leaks in the ordinary course, and it's way upstream. I don't know where the leak came from. I don't know what's going on. You know, but by the way, you're using unauthorized content, which is actually like hilarious. That someone who's saying, well, the initial leaker, that's their problem, I'm downstream, is trying to tell me, someone who's quoting something that I heard from someone who got it, who may have been subject to a TOS, not even a legal obligation. It's just amazing that this is the guy saying I can't quote him, which is also just absurd if you know anything about, you know, copyright law, if you know anything about what's protectable and what's not. Does a terms of service prevent you? Does a paywall prevent an article from being quoted if there's a newsworthy snippet in that article? Absolutely not. And does sharing a couple sentences that happen to be newsworthy equate to, you know, ripping down New York Times' paywall or something? Obviously not. So this is, you know, this guy's not a lawyer or whatever. I'm not gonna hold him. Okay, I didn't respond to that necessarily because I don't know where he's going with that, but it's funny that this is the guy coming with that. So that's 1 p.m. So now it's 6:30 p.m. I'm off work, and I'm like, okay, I've been thinking about this, right? So I hit him with, question. How could you both be far enough from the source to not have any actionable info on who the source is, but also be over 80% confident in that information? So I hit him. So for me, I mean, I think this is a pretty good question, a pretty good cross-examination, right? Like, okay, why? How could it be both? You know, why the two orders, Colonel Jessup? Why? How could it both be, hey, I've got no information to share with Wizards that could help them. You know, I don't know where it's coming from. It's way upstream. But I'm 80% confident it's accurate. That's not how information flow works, in my view. Again, you're going to have to be the judge for yourself. But in my experience, in other contexts, if I have no idea, if I don't have any actual information about where something came from, fairly difficult to be 80% confident. Okay, so as soon as I send this, I'm seeing ... message in progress. I don't know. He seems a little shook, but who knows? Maybe he's just composing what he wants to say back. So, you know, only a couple minutes pass, and he says, look, keep in mind, we've been on the new format is coming angle for over a year now. We've done 2 different podcast episodes about it. Essentially, we've been preaching that WotC had every reason to refresh the semi-eternal format to keep things fresh. Then we heard about the Pioneer format being listed in the tournament software. Then we noted some of the odd price movements that were going down for a while ahead of us. I say, okay, fair enough. Like, keep going. Then we got an anonymous submission that provided the following info. The set list, fetches banned, a suggestion that standard bannings would still be banned, which was wrong. Well, not true. Aaron said something similar. He said they're going to be looking at it closely, and so it's not fully wrong. The Whisperer said they had overheard a conversation. So it's an anonymous submission of someone who overheard a conversation, which explains why only some of their info was correct. From there, we poked around with various contacts, but most had no clue and were even dubious. As is typical, we vetted the info to whatever extent we could, then released it with a confidence rating that seemed to make sense based on what we knew. So you have to just smile at this. So this guy is saying, we had an anonymous source drop a tip that they overheard a conversation. We tried to vet it. People said they had no clue and were dubious, despite the fact that they're contacts, industry contacts. So, 80% confident. And first of all, it's like, okay, well, they looked and they saw there was some price movement, so maybe that added some weight to it. But at the end of the day, you get an anonymous tip. I just don't understand. Now, of course, could he have gone out and oversold it to his audience? Absolutely. I'm not saying, look, he may have been 8% confident, he may not have been, and then he's actually just BSing his paid audience, the folks who paid that good money to be under that terms of service in that Discord server, whatever it is. So I said, John Doe overheard something. Doesn't sound like 80% plus to me, but I'm not in the business. And he says, my best guess is way upstream, either a WotC or CFB employee. Why is he? I don't know. CFB has a relationship with WotC, so I guess, there's some, but he seems like to be bringing CFB up without any knowledge that why couldn't they have overheard a WotC employee? Okay. Or was talking loosely or in a scenario where they thought they were alone. In reality, we hear stuff about every product is set because WotC shares info with partners and contractors, and bits and pieces always circulate as a result. There's already Theros rumors in circulation. Wow. The merchant of information. Cool story. Okay, I said, well, in any event, my video wasn't out to name names. Like, I'm kind of like, why is he even messaging me, right? All I said in the last video was some MTG finance group shared this message. Nobody, okay, cool. He said the most egregious one was Nicole Bolas leak. Okay, wow, who cares? We followed that process, reporting things to Wizards. Again, cool story. That's not what we're talking about. And I said, yeah, I tried to be clear in the video. Downstream speculators are just acting on the info they have. And then, which is funny because he's later going to be like, oh, well, I've got information, but I shouldn't have posted his content, which is really funny. There will always be leaks. I said maybe I could have been more precise in the video. I don't know. He said, we accept most info carries risk, is often wrong, inaccurate, and people make this. Okay, well, that's not 80% plus. I have no issue with your video, really. Cool. It was a level-headed take for the most part. Cool. I only have 2 notes. 1, you're showing copywritten content from behind a paywall. Bullshit. I'm allowed to show a quote that's newsworthy that people were acting on. 2, we definitely weren't the source of these leaks or near the source. Well, how'd you get 80% confident? Again, you be the judge. And I told him, look, I pared the full text down to a couple sentences. We're newsworthy. Get out of here. And then, a quote of any kind from our content is a breach of the terms of service. I'm not subject to terms of service. Had he watched my last video where I discussed privity of contract, he would know. That's not how that works. Okay, so he banned someone for the platform. Yeah, cool story. And I'm like, look, yeah, of course. He's like, he compares it to SCG Premium. Like, yeah, if there's a couple of newsworthy sentences in an SCG Premium article, I'll quote those too. Absolutely not a violation. And then he's like, happy to, we just go back and forth in the terms of service. I'm just like, yeah, good luck, bro. I think I said good lick. But, good luck. Good luck using copyright as a bully to try to take down commentary. Sometimes it works because YouTube's stupid, but hopefully not in this case. All right, so let's dive back into this. I got a couple minutes to wrap this up. Okay. He reaches out. So this was just like, so your story doesn't quite add up, but, maybe he vetted it with the price spikes that were going on. Maybe that's not to be 80%. Maybe he's just lying to his audience. Maybe he just had a hunch. I don't know. But his answer to that question, you be the judge about how satisfactory that is. Or whether he actually is covering for somebody. Maybe he didn't get the information anonymously. It's definitely possible he didn't get the information anonymously. You're going to have to be the judge whether this is covering for somebody and that's how he got 80% confident and now he's backtracking into, well, it was Joe Blow put something anonymous and so I just asked a couple people. They said that sounds dubious and then I went out there with 80%. You be the judge. And then this is just hilarious. Surely you can see the hypocrisy in abusing our private content to comment on what you see as abuse of another party's IP. Actually, go watch the video. I said that acting on the information downstream wasn't a violation. So maybe, go look at the video again before you come out with this. So that's for him. If you enjoy this type of stuff, subscribe to my channel. You get an alert if you hit the little bell. You get an alert when I'm sure Saga 3 is coming here. If it's not the me and Joe Ingram, it'll be something else. So take care. Hope this is as entertaining for you as it has been for me.